Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and if it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Bernie and I do filmmaking content as well as gear reviews and video tutorials, and now I'm doing a lot of FX30 content, including this video. You know, the FX30 is an amazing camera and I got it 4 months ago and my best camera to date. Even though I still have my GH6, I got the FX30 mainly for its amazing autofocusing capability, the form factor, as well as the price. And I really think that you can't beat it at this price point. You know, I have filmed a short documentary using the FX30 with the Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8 lens, as well as some 4K 24p, 60p, and 120fps test videos. All that said, I am happy with the result of the short film and of the other tests that I did. The image quality that the camera produces is amazing. I love it, and even though it's an amazing one, it is not perfect. And no camera is. So, in this video, I will share with you the 5 things that I love and the 5 things that I hate or annoying, about the FX30. Alright, number 1 that I love is the amazing advanced hybrid AF or autofocus. I haven't had a camera that focuses this fast and accurate. It's filming me right now, but my Sony ZV-1, it does it too, but not as consistent as this FX30 right here. I have never experienced any hunting effect using it, and it's really a game changer for me. Most especially, when doing a talking head video. It's always focused on my eyes, even if I move like this. And also, if let's say the camera can't find my eyes, it will still use my face since I have the camera set to human. You can also do tracking shots, which is very helpful in some situations. And aside from human, you can also select animal and bird. But for me, I always have it on human settings since I film people and always use it for talking head videos like this video. You know, the accuracy, the consistency of the autofocusing system, I have never experienced that with my other cameras, starting with my GH5, my G9, and my GH6 now. You know, I have been a manual focus guy when I started years ago, but I welcome this amazing autofocus. And this will make my filming easier. Why not utilize it, right? And I'm just going to worry about storytelling and framing. I'm all for it, and it's a good thing. So, amazing autofocus is a must-have for me since I have already experienced using it, and it really helped me and made my filming quicker and easier. Alright, second thing that I love about the camera is the form factor. It's really beautiful to look at, and I really believe that Sony did a great job in designing the body, and it is the same body design as the FX3. I love the gray color and just the overall body design. It doesn't have a viewfinder, I know, and it's a good thing for me since I rarely use it with my other cameras, so I'm not really missing it. For some though, not having a viewfinder is a deal breaker, but for me, it isn't. Also, I love the fact that it has a lot of 1/4 inch screw holes and you can use these in a lot of ways. You can actually attach a microphone if the hot shoe is already being used, or you can use it to attach a power bank for you to be able to power the FX30 for hours without the need of a cage. You know, when I'm holding it, I always want to shoot with it. And, you know, I'm all about mobility, and having this small form factor is a big plus for me. And add the addition, of course, of the small Sigma lens, and we definitely have a winner right here. Alright, now moving on to our third one. The thing that I love about the FX30 is the tally lamps. You won't miss them, and I love that Sony implemented the tally lamps all over the camera, so you won't miss when you're recording or not. Also, another one is the emphasized record display, indicating that you are recording. This is the same as the one on the G9 and the GH6 with a different name, and Panasonic calls it as a red rec frame indicator, which makes more sense to me rather than calling it as emphasized record display. Alright, number 4 is the ability to import LUTs to the camera and use them to preview on what your image will look like when they're applied in post. This really helps me since the LCD screen is not pleasing or it's unflattering to look at, especially if you're filming using S-Log3. The LUT acts as a final representation of the image, and I'm so glad that Sony implemented it to the FX30. You know, I've been saying this, that I stayed away in filming S-Log way back, and that's also one of the reasons why I don't buy a Sony camera in the first place. But it changed because of the FX30. Alright, so number 5 that I love is the vari-angle LCD or the articulating screen or the flip-out screen of the FX30. You know, whatever you want to call it. And I'm so glad that Sony finally implemented this since it is very helpful in getting low-angled shots. You know, I remember when they did this the first time to the Sony ZV-1, it was a game changer for me as well. Since I don't really like how the LCD works from the previous Sony camera models, since I am used to Lumix where they have implemented the flip-out screen from day one in all of their GH cameras. Although this is a very simple flip-out screen compared to the one with the GH6 where it's a bit thicker since it's a tilt/articulating LCD screen that is mounted to a fully articulating hinge that is itself attached to a cradle that tilts up by around 30 degrees or 45 degrees. This is also one of the reasons why I was holding back when getting a Sony camera years ago. What about 5 things I hate? Well, for number 1, it's the low light performance of the 4K 120 FPS feature of the FX30. I know maybe you'll say, here we go again, another low light complaint video about the FX30. But for me, I can't let it pass since I have experienced it and it's bad when filming in S-Log3 using Cine EI and the base ISOs of 800 and 2500. You can see in this video of my mom walking, and this was outdoors, and the noise, as you can see here, is really noticeable. This was filmed using the Sigma 18-50mm lens. I have also tried filming indoors and it's so bad. You will need plenty of light to make it work if you're using the base ISOs, and that's based on my testing. Alright, so for number 2 this time, it's the HDMI port since it wobbles a lot. And my GH6 doesn't do that, so really I think this needs tightening. It's not really big of a deal since I only use it for my talking head video when I have the HDMI plugged into my Samsung TV right here so that I can see my framing and my mic is not showing in the frame. You know, I'm just scared that if I keep plugging the HDMI in and out, I might eventually break it. So that's why I'm always being careful when I have to remove the HDMI cable. You know, the best solution that I can see here is to just tighten the screw, which I haven't done since I don't want to mess with it, right? Maybe if I will have the guts to do it, then I will do it. But for now, I leave it the way it is. Alright, now moving on to our number 3 is the lack of shutter angle for this type of a camera, and it's marketed as a cinema camera, so I would expect that it has a shutter angle at the very least. Maybe I was just pampered by Panasonic that both the GH5 and GH6 have shutter angles, and it's a game changer for me. If I film at 24p, the shutter speed should be 1/48 of a second to maintain motion blur of the image. But with cameras like the FX30, the closest is 1/50th of a second since it doesn't have 1/48 of a second. Whereas if there's a shutter angle, you will never have to worry about changing the shutter speed ever again, since it will always double your frame rate if you choose to have it at 180 degrees. So really, shutter angle is a must for me. As with the FX30, the good thing about it though, even it doesn't have shutter angle, once you change the shutter speed, let's say 1/20th of a second for a 60p frame rate, you can then lock the dial to lock it in place and to prevent the user from knocking it accidentally. Alright, number 4 is the menu system. Yes, this whole thing right here, even though it was already changed and improved from the previous camera models, but still looking for a specific feature gets confusing at times. It's not too bad, but I can't help but compare the GH6's menu system, which is way ahead of the Sony one based on my experience and in my opinion, I love how they implemented it on their Lumix cameras. You know, from the colors of the fonts to the tabs. You can easily find what you are looking for. Although sometimes it takes a while to browse the menu since the GH6 is packed full of features. But for Sony, I still have not gotten used to it just yet. Alright, so last but not the least, and number 5 is that they don't have a custom dial or custom dials of the saved settings, particularly for different frame rates and their settings. You know, I understand that you can also use these other buttons to customize the feature you want to use. It's another thing, but for saving the settings for your frame rates from 24p all the way to 120 fps, the Sony FX30 doesn't have that. They only have the MR1 to MR2 to MR3, and you will use the mode button to get into them. It's a bit of a pain when you want to change frame rates quickly. You have to do one more step before going to the part where you can then select the memory of your choice. You know, it would be nice if they have implemented the same as the GH cameras. With the GH6, once the settings are saved to the custom buttons, in this case from C1 to C4, by just turning the dial, you are already into a different setting. It's really easy and so simple. So for now, it is what it is. So how about you? Do you have your 5 things that you love and 5 things that you hate about the FX30? Also, what is the best feature for you if you happen to love the FX30? And how about the one annoying thing that you hate the most about it? Alright, as always, thanks so much for watching. Until the next one, this is Bernie. Goodbye for now. And I have the preview and I have the preview